all the other gestrels have quite sort of high pitched voices
Yeah.
and speak in a certain way. I mean, it's established that Monoco was taught English, so that's why
Hmm.
he speaks English. But it's not really it's not really explained why his voice is so ridiculously deep compared to all the other gestrels. But it's just the way it is. That's what it was. They said they wanted a deep booming voice. That's what he's got. Hi, I'm Rich Keeble. You may know me as Mr. Arnold in Good Omens, Brian from Rivals, or Monoco, Francois, and others from Clair Obscur, Expedition 33, or even Fenrico from Wuthering Waves. Anyway, regardless of that, you're listening to Hawaii's #1 podcast, the Kasanova podcast.
Aloha and welcome everyone to another episode of the Casanova podcast. I'm your host, Mekel Casanova, and today we are joined by a very, very, very special guest, the one, the only Rich Keeble. Rich, how are you doing today?
Oh, it's me. I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. It's a beautiful Monday morning. The kids are out of school, and we're working with that because it's
Mm.
like we were talking before we start recording. It's like, well, Dad, what are we doing today? What are we doing today? And it's like,
Maybe nothing. Maybe you're just staying out of my way. Maybe that's what we're doing today.
yeah.
Yeah, as we were just saying. So, I mean, for me, it's Monday evening, and we had half term last week and an inset day today.
Hmm.
I mean, I used to love inset days when I was at school, but now I hate inset days. It's just, oh my god, because I like Mondays because because I got two girls who
Hmm.
are under 10, and oh, back to school Monday, great, I can get some stuff done. Oh fuck, it's an inset day. I think of something else. And today, my kids both have gymnastics after school on a Monday, and it's now one after the other. So one is at 5, and then one is at 6:30, and then she finishes at 8. So p.m. of course, and then, well, maybe not. Maybe that wasn't obvious, but yeah, after school. So my youngest goes at 5, and normally my wife would drop her off, and then
Hmm.
I would take the eldest at 6:30, and then bring the youngest one home, and then I would pick the eldest one up. But today, because my wife was out, I had to drop the youngest off. I did leave the eldest on her own a little bit. And then I came back, and then I had to go and get her. But because my wife wasn't back in time, I had to take the youngest with me to then go and pick up the eldest, her on the scooter, me and the eldest on our bikes, and it was just, yeah,
Yeah.
just a bit chaotic. So now I'm just, they end up going to bed a bit late as a result. So my wife has just been doing that, and I've just been like, you need to shut up because I'm about to do an interview, and I've got a very sensitive mic. So no calling out, please. But I think they seem to be behaving themselves quite quietly. I love my kids, obviously, but it can be a bit hard to get those things off your to-do list, as you
Yeah.
understand, because you've got three kids. So
Yeah. It's one of those things where I've had people that are like, how do you manage to get any work done when, you have $3 and such? And I'm like, you do the best you can, you pray, and then you just you hope that everything turns out well. It's the hardest with my youngest who's 4 because
mm,
everything is dad, dad. I'm like, what? Hi. that's
yeah,
that's it.
yeah, yeah. Well, same, and both of them will be doing it completely. It's like both of them will be in their own little world, like saying something to me as if the other one doesn't exist, and it's just like, hang on a minute, you're both talking to me at the same time.
Yeah.
Are you not aware of each other? I don't get it. Um, I found there's two extreme. Sometimes I just don't get anything done in the day, but then other times having kids has made me a little bit more focused. It's just like,
Yeah.
okay, I've got half an hour to get this stuff done, so I have to get it done. Whereas if I didn't have kids and I was younger, I might just procrastinate a bit more. So, you know, swings and
Yeah.
roundabouts, as they say.
That's very true.
They
It's
they
very true.
enrich our lives a lot, but they also make them quite complicated.
What's
Um,
very interesting is I'm noticing that there are more and more people that are having kids later and later in life now. and it's just interesting because like I feel I kind of feel like you and I are close in the same age range, and it's like seeing a lot of the people that are having kids later in their 40s or 50s. I'm like, wow, that's so different than what I'm used to seeing when I was growing up, you know.
Yeah, well, I know. I mean, I'm in my mid 40s, so I imagine I'm older than you. But yeah,
Not by
yeah.
much. Not by much.
Well, I mean, I spent my 20s and 30s just kind of going out and getting drunk, really, and just sort of enjoying myself, which I think maybe you should do. I don't know. And then I had
Yeah.
my kids, yeah, in my mid 30s. But I've been married twice as well, so I sort of, I suppose I sort of subconsciously put it off. But here we are. But I think it's a good time for me because I'm kind of, you know, career's going okay, not worrying too much about it, and I don't really want to go out anymore, and I'm too tired to do so. So I might as well be bringing up some children.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, it seems to be working out all right. But yeah, I don't think I want to be too old. I mean, I'm actually one of the younger dads that, out of the dads that I speak to at my kids' school, I mean, yeah, a few of them are sort of in their 50s. So that
Wow.
makes me feel younger. I mean, I literally
It's
am
one.
younger. But you know, it's nice. Like, I mean, for example, among the cast of Expedition 33, if you ignore Andy, and Charlie, the sort of the non-Hollywood stars among the cast, yeah, I think I'm
Hmm.
comfortable. I think I'm comfortably older than everyone. I think I'm the only one without kids. Well,
Oh
Dev's got
wow.
a kid, but yeah, I'm talking about the sort of the core ones. Yeah, so I try not to talk about kids too much because probably haven't even thought that far ahead. Or maybe that generation, maybe no one wants kids anymore. I don't know. I mean, yeah, Gen Z don't drink, do they?
I don't think they
So it's
do.
different.
Like it's interesting because I was having this conversation with Evil Ed over the weekend, and we were talking about um how much different the generations are, like from our generation down. Like it's just it's almost like a different world in a way.
Mm.
Like they're so uh radically different. So yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know about you, but when I was in my 20s, I would drink a lot and probably smoke when you were allowed to smoke inside. Would drink a lot and get really drunk, but fortunately, no one had a smartphone, and nobody was sort of taking videos of you doing anything, and being raucous. Whereas now, I almost don't dare to drink anything because I'm just worried that somebody's gonna video me just
Yeah.
stumbling about and
They
send it
record
to thousands of
everything
people
now.
immediately and put it online. So I think, yeah, I think things have changed a lot with social media and smartphones and things, and the smoking ban, and everything's so expensive now. Because when I used to go out regularly, I was
Hmm.
explaining this to my older daughter actually yesterday. I said when I used to go out and drink a lot, I might have, I don't know, 8 beers or something. But you could get a beer for like £2 or £3, whereas now it's like 7 or 8 quid for a pint. I
Yeah.
went to funny enough, someone's 50th birthday last year in London, and I bought myself a single pint of beer, and it was 8 quid, and I had to just double check that he hadn't charged me for two. But that's what it costs now. So yeah, I mean, surely no one can afford to drink several pints in a London bar anymore.
Yeah. Like I know, when I used to go out to the bars and the clubs out here, I think it's been probably 13, 14 years at this point. Um, it used to be cheap. I could get, I could probably spend at most $30 a night, and I would have gotten multiple beers, some mixed drinks, and such. Unless the last time I went for my sister's birthday, because what's interesting, she's older than me, but she loves to go out all the time. And I'm like,
Mm.
and she has far more kids than me, and they're older, and I'm like, I don't know how you do this. We're not 20 something years old. She's like, I'm not old, bro. I'm like, I'm not saying you're old. I'm just saying I don't know how you have energy for it. But when I went out with her for her birthday, I want to say it was a couple weeks back, we went to a bar that we used to go to. Um, it was crazy just seeing the prices. I'm like, one beer is how much? A mixed
Mm.
drink is over 20? I'm like, no, I'm good. I'll take water. They're like, oh, it's $6 for water. Oh, a glass of water is $6. What? It's crazy.
Oh yeah, just give me a glass and I'll fill it up in the toilet. I mean, not
No,
from the
right?
toilet, but from the sink.
It's not, in my opinion, it's just not feasible economically to try and continue drinking at the rate that like I used to when I was younger. And I understand like the younger generation, they probably with inflation everywhere, like there's probably no way they can afford going out like that.
Oh yeah, I mean, in certainly in London, I mean, no one can even afford to move out anymore. It's just a different world. No one
Hmm.
can afford to eat out, drink out, and just no one can buy anywhere, and even rent is extortionate now. So yeah, I mean, in the last 20 years, it's just absolutely mental. So I feel sorry for young people now. I'm kind of glad I kind of did my, I don't know, I did my socializing, and of course, COVID sort of made me just prefer to not see people. And then when we sort of came back into socializing, I started going to rap parties and other things like that, and I was just like, oh my god, this is awful. All these
Yeah.
people here. I used to be quite confident in my 20s, and now I've sort of turned into a recluse. uh, but I'm just sort of getting out of it now. Uh, yeah, but there we are. This is the world evolving.
True, true.
What
So
can you
so
do? What can you
so
do?
so one of the things I definitely want to ask you, with everything that you do, from acting to voice acting, like how do you have time, like how do you manage your time throughout the day? Because you're doing TV shows, you're doing video game voiceovers, and other things and such. How is your time like slotted out on top of family and everything?
Well, I mean, it just sort of generally touch wood works out. I mean, at the moment, I'm currently experiencing an unprecedented amount of people messaging me, just saying nice things, but also, doing interviews and such. So that, I don't normally have to factor that in. But yeah, I guess I'm just in a bit of a routine of just stuff goes in the calendar immediately. My wife and I share Google calendars, so we kind of, um, we don't even have to tell each other what we're doing. We can kind of see it, which is quite good because I will forget to tell her stuff.
Hmm.
But luckily, it'll be in the calendar. So she's got a load of recurring events in, like, which kid is doing PE on which day, or which is a parents thing or something she's doing. So if my acting agent or my voice agent come and say, "Are you free on these dates?" I can go, "Oh, looks like it, yeah," and then just immediately pencil that thing in, and then I will immediately tell the other agent that date. So if my voice agent says, "Oh, can you do this?" It could
Hmm.
be a commercial voiceover or a game. I'll go, "Okay, great," and I'll try and immediately tell my acting agent, "Oh, this has come in," and then vice versa. Um, and yeah, just a bit of luck, I suppose. I mean, funnily enough, I mean, we've obviously we fit this in tonight, and I've got a couple more. I think I'm doing another couple of interviews, but I had to move something from Thursday to tomorrow because a few of us are going to LA on Friday for IGN Live.
Hmm.
I don't think that's a secret, but yeah, a few of us Expedition 33 cast are going over there. So I'm flying out to LA on Friday, and then I land back in the UK on Tuesday, I think.
Oh, okay.
And then Wednesday, I'm going to a university where I occasionally give a talk
Hmm.
because of the lecturer is a friend of a friend. And I'm going to watch some showcases. So I think I'm watching some self, some show reel scenes that some actors have done, and I'll kind of comment on that, and they can kind of chat to me afterwards. and then the next day I'm traveling to Bristol to start working on this TV show that I do called Rivals,
Hmm.
and everything has kind of just about slotted in. And yeah, so I've got a costume fitting for Rivals on Thursday. They messaged me
Hmm.
today, so I had to move an interview from Thursday to tomorrow. Um, and yeah, it's just a bit of juggling around. I mean, both my agents are really good, and yeah, we just got a bit of a routine going on, I suppose. Yeah, just juggling dates, and then luckily my wife doesn't have a normal job either. I mean, she's not an actor, but she works part time and she can work remotely. So
Hmm.
usually we can kind of juggle things between us. I mean, again, this is an unusual period because when I come back from doing Rivals on the Saturday, my wife is then going to New York for the week with some family. So I'll have the kids on my own that week. Um, so I'll just have to juggle. I'll have to do stuff during the day. So voice
Hmm.
sessions, I'll have to say, well, it has to be really between sort of 10 and 2. Um, and if I get an on-camera job, I'll just have to ask someone to pick the kids up. And then a week after that, I'm back on the TV show again when my wife's back. So yeah, it's just juggling, isn't it? And then in between, trying to catch up with your emails and stuff. I mean, on yesterday, I sent out a load of emails, just apologizing to people for taking so long. And then we were in Montpellier last week for the Expedition 33 release party.
Hmm.
So I feel like I've been doing a lot more traveling than normal.
Nice.
But yeah, I mean, it's good to be busy. It's a good problem to have. Can't complain. It's nice to be working, and it's nice to be, I don't know, still enjoying all this positivity with the game as well.
Yeah.
Um,
Speaking of the game, like, were you surprised at how it just has become such an astronomical success? Like, people are just loving it across the board.
yeah, I mean, I still can't quite believe how well it's gone down. Yeah, I mean, I've said this before, but we always felt that it was good,
Hmm.
but we didn't think it'd be this good. You know, um, Metacritic. I mean, what are we 4, 5 weeks in now? Whatever. Yeah, Metacritic still 92. User critic like what 97, 98.
United, yeah.
It's record breaking. People are talking about game of the year, game of the decade.
I
Um,
say game of the millennium. Like, like it's that good to me. So like my wife and I, we played it start to finish, and we were just like, oh my god, this is so good. Like every time we got the kids to sleep, we just would play. We played start to finish. We did a whole podcast dissecting everything because I have a background in psychology, and
oh,
the game has a lot of psychological themes to it, and so we were
yeah.
breaking that down. I did a lore video explaining the story and like the different psychological aspects, and we're still going back finding things. I'm like, this game is just, I haven't played something like this in decades, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I'm delighted that you've enjoyed it. I mean, I think a lot of people are saying the same. I mean, I've, I don't have the time to play games myself, and I don't have the means. I think I
Hmm.
said to you, my laptop is incredibly low spec. I don't have a console. I don't actually have a TV. So I watch people playing the games, which is what I used to do when I was younger. I've played PS2. A friend of mine had a PS2 in the early 2000s. So a flatmate of mine, I used to play on a BBC Micro in the 80s when I was a kid. I've always been around games, but in terms of putting hours and hours in, I just don't really have the time or the means. But I've put a lot of hours into watching people playing this game, and it's yeah, it's pretty something. Just sitting on a Twitch stream, everyone's chatting about it. I'm popping in and out, watching different people playing the same bits of the game that I've already seen. It's just something else. I mean, I watched hours of that demo when it came out, and my character wasn't even in it. I just like watched loads of it. And yeah, I still need to just sit down and just watch somebody playing the whole thing all the way through at some point. But yeah, it's just yeah, it's just incredible. I mean, I knew it looked good. I knew the acting was good. I knew the story was good. I didn't know how the battle mechanics would be because that wasn't in the script.
Hmm.
I found that out since I've been watching people play it, and all these other little hidden little bits and pieces here and there. I mean, there's so much of it. I mean, yeah, of course it's fun. There's so much to find, so much to explore, and all those little human comedy moments. I mean, not just all the great dialogue, but yeah, just like the picture of the dev team and the painting and the the gestural sitting in the fire, the "this is fine" meme, and just
Yeah.
and even the cost, Monoco's swimsuit and all the gestural hairstyles, you can make them bald, can't you? It's just there's so much, they've thrown everything into this game,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's just yeah, I still can't get over, because it is a bit rough around the edges in some elements.
Hmm.
And I was told that, well, that'll probably bring it down into the 80s, Metacritic. But for people to, still be, voting it so highly, and I've just seen, game of the year so much. It's just, yeah, I still can't get over it. I still can't get over, the love that we're getting, and people are still discovering it as well.
Yeah.
You know, I
That's
mean,
that's
I've seen so many clips of Monoco and these little dialogues, doing the house. I mean, millions of views on social media things, and people going, "What is this? What is this?" And still discovering it. It's like it's never ending in a good
so.
way.
So, like, some of my favorite parts have been like the scenes with you as Monaco and Verso Ben Star, which I got to meet Ben Star a couple of years ago at the Final Fantasy
Ah,
16 launch party. I got invited to LA by Square Enix and got to meet him and a lot of the other cast. Phenomenal
brilliant.
guy. Uh, when you guys were when those the back and forth, it seems like you guys are like doing a round robin type of thing. I'm not sure if that's how you guys were recording it or if it was just your in individual booths, but it just the back and forth between Verso and Monoco just seems so like you guys are like literally right next to each other recording. Like, is that how it went or?
No, well, I mean, it really does sound like that, doesn't it? And I mean, kudos to Ben. I mean, Ben's great. Um, some of those scenes between Kirsty and who plays Lune and Charlie as Gustav, some of those early dialogues just so naturalistic and truthful. You kind of you can imagine that they were in the room together, just kind of semi-improving around the lines, and then they kind of did the cutscenes to it. But it was, yeah, I mean, it honestly was. It was done well. I guess the two bizarre things that people can't comprehend is that, firstly, all that motion capture in those cutscenes was all already done in
Hmm.
in France. So we had to firstly match to what was already there, and secondly, we were doing it in isolation. We were doing it individually. So for example, yeah, one of those cutscenes, cinematics, I would come in to do my bits.
Hmm.
So Ben might have already done his bits, So I mean, the famous scene of, I will never join you again. There will be a lot of fighting, though. Oh yeah, that's true. There will be a lot of fighting. Yeah, it's true. Count me in then. All that was done. I think Ben had already done his. I mean, I think yeah. I mean, it changed around, but we were kind of alternating coming in. But yeah, Ben would have done his lines, and then I would have done mine afterwards. So they would have fed in his recorded line, and then I would do mine to him.
Hmm.
And yeah, the advantage I had is that Monoco doesn't have a visible mouth,
Yeah.
so I don't have to do any lip syncing. So they could have shifted mine around a bit to get the timing, but yeah, I mean, I don't remember how much of that was done. I think yeah, it was pretty much just done like that, and it's I'm blowing smoke up everyone else's arse here, but yeah, I mean, because everyone else is a great actor and they deliver their lines so well, it just kind of you just kind of fed off that energy.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's how it's worked out so well. Some people are confused. Some people are like, oh no, the actors were together, but there's a lot of video footage of the mocap actors in the same room together, which of course they were. But yeah, all the voice stuff was done in isolation. So if you've seen that behind the scenes video, it's literally like that. It's like we're in front of a screen with the lines, or it would have had the animation on it, and we're just doing it, yeah, one by one. So yeah, I mean, great writing, because it was all planned out like that. That when they're talking over each other, oh, the mission, fuck the mission, Kirsty and Charlie. Charlie would have done his stuff in America, and then Kirsty's doing her stuff in London with the rest of us. It just meshed together so well. So yeah, you wouldn't believe it though, would you? It just
No.
comes across so natural, and all
Yeah.
the good, yes, good. That was all scripted. It was all written out.
Nice. Yeah. It's like, so when, when I was playing a game and just like the cut scenes and the way the motion capture is done, the way the voice acting and the voice performance by all of you, like it's, and I'm not throwing shade on any other video games that are out there, but like the voice acting from you guys, your performances, I felt like I was watching theater play out. As someone with the theater background, I'm like, this is so good. Like I felt the emotion behind every voice, every scene, every inflection. Like it was just so perfect. It felt lifelike. The characters felt real. It didn't feel like, okay, I'm just watching a character with a voice come out. It felt like, and I think a lot of it also, aside from like the voice acting and the motion capture, also like the expressions on the characters is just really brought that to life. A lot of games don't
Mm.
put that type of attention to detail, and it was just great seeing it.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone's done a great job. You know, I mean, those mocap guys, really did well. And I mean, of course, before the mocap, there was I don't know, there was so much sort of thought going into the art and the design and the programmers. Let's not forget that there's quite a lot of people who did a lot of work, before the mocap. But yeah, they did a great job on the mocap, and I think the good thing about I think what really helped in this job is that they really made us comfortable. I mean, and I've done a lot of video games, and sometimes it can be an exercise in just sort of getting as many lines done in an hour as you can.
Hmm.
But this was definitely, yeah, it was definitely a nice, relaxed working atmosphere. And I'm not saying I don't think I've ever done a game where it hasn't been a nice working atmosphere, but before we even started, they took us out for a meal, to kind of get to know each other.
Hmm.
So, I mean, not everyone could make it, but yeah, we went for a meal, and it was Guillaume and Jen from Sandfall, and then Joe from Side, who was the voice director from Side. So Side is the London studio where we did all the voice recording.
Hmm.
And then I met Ben and Kirsty at this dinner, and it was really great meeting Ben because of course, I've got a lot of scenes with Ben, and our characters have a real history, which is evident from the beginning, and sort of even more evident the more you play the game, obviously.
Yeah.
But it was great meeting Ben, and then sort of knowing who I was acting with, because not
Hmm.
most games I do, and I'm doing uh, Wuthering Waves is another big game at the moment, and I don't know anyone else who's in it really. I mean, I do
Hmm.
afterwards. I mean, Jennifer English, who plays Mael, is also in Wuthering Waves, but I go in and I do some scenes as my character, and I don't really know who the other actors are. But on this, I kind of, yeah, it did make a difference, kind of knowing at least a couple of them. And then when we done all our sessions, and they took us out for dinner again as like a little wrap sort of dinner, and yeah, I just think, yeah, all the sessions, Guillaume and Jen were always there, and it was just really fun and relaxed. And they just kind of let us go with our instincts a lot of the time. There wasn't really a huge amount of prescriptive direction, I suppose.
Hmm.
Um, Jen and Guillaume were very good at giving us context because when you're doing a game, you are jumping about all over the place. And oh, we're doing a bit of that. No, we're doing a bit of a dialogue scene. Now we're doing some battle noises and efforts. Oh, now we're doing a cut scene. And in my case, I think more than anyone, oh, now we're going to do some different characters as well.
Hmm.
So you're jumping about. So they were very good at getting us into the context, but yeah, but then letting us kind of go with their instincts. So I think Ben and someone else have said this as well, but I think most of the lines that are in the game are like maybe the first or the second take, that we did. So that probably helps with why it maybe sounds so truthful and natural because we weren't kind of going over and over and over and doing it. We'd sort
Hmm.
of understand what the intention was supposed to be and what the context is, and then just kind of go for it. And yeah, that's what worked out. And yeah, all that kind of good vibes has sort of come out in the wash, I think.
Yeah,
you know
definitely.
they showed us a load of cutscenes when we were doing it. We turned up on the first day and it was like, oh yeah, here's some of the graphics, and we're all like, fucking hell, this looks great. Wow. So it really drew us in early on.
Okay.
Yeah.
For the way you brought Monoco to life, um, was this a situation where like you got to, bring a lot of yourself to the character, the way you delivered the lines, the inflection, or was there like they had an idea in their mind and you were matching
Well, I guess they had an idea in their mind and I was matching it, yeah, because I pretty much did him as I did it in the audition, really. And funnily enough, that scene, the good, count me in then. That was the scene I auditioned with.
it? Hmm.
And I did it pretty much like I did it on the day, because I mean they sent me audition stuff through, and it said something like, well, there was a picture of him, and
Hmm.
he looked pretty much like he does, and you know I've played a lot of characters who are weird and wonderful, faceless, ageless. So I just thought, okay, didn't really think anything weird about him. I've seen worse. Deep booming voice. Okay, I've done a lot of that in my time. I guess that's why I've got this audition. Um, but yeah, the strange thing is that I never really. I mean, I've played I've done a lot of British comedy TV,
Hmm.
and I've done comedy in video games, and I've done a lot of non-humans in video games in very serious contexts. But I've never really done a non-human with a comedy element. And so when I read the script, I wasn't initially sure how to how to go about it, really. So in the end, I just sort of went with, well, let's not. It does seem quite funny,
Hmm.
um, but let's just play it straight. The comedy's in the situation, rather than playing up to it. Yeah, so I just did it really deadpan, and then got the offer. Yeah. So they must have had a very specific something in mind, and I just kind of matched it, because someone else asked me actually, or pointed out the fact that all the other gestrels have quite sort of high pitched voices
Yeah.
and speak in a certain way. I mean, it's established that Monoco was taught English, so that's why
Hmm.
he speaks English. But it's not really it's not really explained why his voice is so ridiculously deep compared to all the other gestrels. But it's just the way it is. That's what it was. And they said they wanted a deep booming voice. That's what he's got. Uh, but yes, to answer your question, I did it pretty much, yeah, like I thought it should be done, and they seem to like it. So I
Okay.
guess that's why I got the job. It's like when there's a lot of videos that go around the houses now. People like Bryan Cranston or whoever going, just audition, just look forward to it, do it like you've got the job. Do it. This is my version of the character.
Yeah.
This is how I would do it if I imagine I'm doing the job. This is how I'm doing it, and I guess that's how I did it with Monoco, and it worked out.
Nice.
And all the other characters I voiced as well. You know, they pretty much just let me have a go, and then that's pretty much what went in the game.
Nice, nice. I definitely want to ask you, because you also, um, you've done voices in Split Fiction as well, which I'm
Mm.
actually interviewing later on today. Interviewing Elsie Bennett,
Ah,
from that, so it's gonna be another thing that's gonna make me nervous, but I'm excited for it. But like with doing that and also doing Wuthering Waves and all the other games you've done, like how like your portfolio of work is so extensive. Like, do you ever have moments where you're just like, wow, that's fucking cool that I've gotten to do all that? Like it's got to be surreal at times.
well, it is, and I'll tell you what, I do have to sometimes, yeah, take a step back and just appreciate how fortunate I've been to kind of do a lot of this stuff because I started a bit later in life. I didn't start thinking about getting into acting and things until I was 30.
Hmm.
So I was a bit late, and I didn't go to drama school. And I mean, in the UK, most working actors will have gone to drama school. There are exceptions to the rule, but I mean, I think, for example, I think Ben and Jen from the game, I think they all went to drama school and did lots of theatre and stuff. Whereas I wanted to kind of do TV comedy. Really, I didn't necessarily want to do Shakespeare or Chekhov. I wanted to do uh, Blackadder and Bottom and other sort of British sitcoms that were sort of 80s and 90s that perhaps not so well known in the US. But I guess I've always had a bit of a chip on my shoulder about not having trained properly
Hmm.
and felt that I'm a bit of imposter syndrome and kind of maybe that I'm winging it, which I think I probably am. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think a lot of people, fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I do have to kind of look back objectively and go, well, actually, yeah, that's pretty good. That is pretty good. On one hand, you think, oh, I wish I was doing that. Or I wish I'd done that. But then you have to think, well, a lot of people would kill to be in this position.
Hmm.
I mean, I'm very fortunate that, I in the UK, I've had moments of being recognised from various things. Um, but generally, I'm sort of, I feel like I'm a bit under the radar a lot of the time. People will know me from something, but won't necessarily know what it is.
Hmm.
Um, and in the gaming world, yeah, I mean, it's only really recently that I've sort of put my head and shoulders above the parapet because of some of these games are just done really well. I mean, I did a game called Strange Brigade probably back in 2018, I think it was, or 2017.
Oh, I love that game.
And oh, really? Well, not a lot of people have really played it that I meet. And but I played, one of the playable characters in that, a character called Frank Fairburn, who is a relative of Carl Fairburn, who's in the Sniper Elite games. And I was thinking, well, this is cool. But it didn't hugely take off. And maybe at the time I wasn't really, I don't know, maybe I wasn't receptive to it. I don't know. But then after that, I just kind of did fairly anonymous roles in games, like people
Hmm.
popping up here and there. And it seems like suddenly I'm in a position in 2025 where I'm playing two notable characters. Well, talking about Monoco and Fenrico and Wuthering Waves. I'm playing sort of
Hmm.
characters in games that people seem to be invested in. And then I'm just sort of popping up in other game of the year type things like Split Fiction. I mean, Split Fiction, I'm barely in it, but I do play a few characters in that a bit more anonymously. But yeah, but again, it's great to be a part of something good, even if you're a small part of it. It's just so random that everything seems to have happened at once,
Yeah.
which is often the way it is, you know. Um, but yeah, yeah, it's funny. It is surreal. It is surreal, really. Because I do think, I've done a lot of TV shows as well, and a lot of voiceovers for this and a lot of audiobooks. It's just like suddenly you get to a point in your life, it's just like, oh my God, I've actually done quite a lot of things. But I think when you're in it, you're just thinking, oh, I'm not very successful. I need to do a few, need to get some more things on my CV. And then suddenly you've got it. And yeah, it's weird. I'm very fortunate. I mean, it's not a complete accident. I mean, when I did, I will say that. So, Split Fiction, Wuthering Waves, and Expedition 33 are all recorded at the same London studio.
Hmm.
I mean, they're all different developers, but they're all done at Side. And I wasn't hugely on Side's radar before I did Expedition 33. And I think I'm remembering this correctly, but I went in and did a voice for New World Eternum, which I probably would have recorded, I don't know, early last year or something.
Hmm.
And then I came in and started doing Expedition 33. And after I'd kind of, gelled quite well with the team and they were pretty happy with what I'd been doing and they give me all these different voices and I was doing all these other things. Yeah, they just sort of put my name around really. And then just sort of suddenly I just started getting loads more auditions from Side and sort of, because Side are pretty good with actually tailoring auditions, like they'll send my agent something, oh, can we see Rich for this? Or can Rich
Hmm.
tape for this? They've already kind of whittled it down. So your chances of booking it are a lot higher. So yeah, I mean that's when I got Wuthering Waves and Split Fiction and other games that I'm working on that haven't been either haven't been announced or have been announced and I'm not allowed to say I'm in them. So yeah, Expedition 33 has been pretty good to me. I mean, even before it came out, it was getting me more work. So yeah, hashtag blessed. Hashtag grateful.
Awesome, awesome. I,
Uh,
I I've
yeah.
had a lot of my voice actor friends. A lot of them I've known before they've had like a major role, and they're like, "Hey, I've been doing all this stuff for so many years, and then I get that one role or two roles, and it's like, boom, it just blew up." One of my good friends, Mark Whitten, who does Ring Goku and Demon Slayer, and he does some stuff in Genshin Impact. Like I've known him for 13 or 14 years, and like he was just he tells me all the time, he's like, man, every time I look back, it's like I did all this work and it's like these one or two roles. And it's like, it just opens the floodgates. And so it's always, to me, interesting hearing, people's journeys and stories on that, and how it's like it's such a surreal thing, because I feel like with how life is, like we're always, especially in this 2025, like we're just like going, 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 and going,
Mm.
that we rarely have that moment of stillness to just sit and be like, oh, okay, let me reflect and see what it is that I have done. So,
Yeah, and it's important to do. I mean, I did a few years ago when I was sort of getting into this a bit more seriously. I did. Someone advised me to do a success journal,
mhm,
which is basically writing down things that you've done that actually you're pleased with, just to remind yourself, because otherwise you forget. I mean, you sort of focus on the jobs you didn't get, or other friends of yours are being successful and doing things that you think that you should be doing. And yeah, you do need to allow yourself a moment of reflection and acceptance. And yeah, you sort of you also need to allow yourself to deserve to be there as well, I suppose.
yeah.
I mean, I found that with games, it's like the fact that I don't play games, I've always thought it's a bit like, oh God, people are going to hate me because I don't actually play games. Because a lot of people, like Ben Starr, plays a lot of games, you know, but I need to kind of let that go because it's just like, well, it's just not happening for me at the moment. But also, I'm an actor and I do different things. I love the
Hmm.
video game community, but I also do like doing on camera things. And I do like watching the gameplay, but I also kind of need to keep up with what's happening in TV as well, because you can be on a job and the director goes, "Oh yeah, tonally, we're trying to do something a bit like X,"
Hmm.
and if you've never if you're not aware of what X is, it can be it can make life a bit tricky.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I found that with. I mean, I'm in this TV show called Rivals, which is it's on Disney Plus in the UK. I think it's on Hulu in the States.
Hmm.
And I don't know how well it did in the States, but it went down very well in the UK. And we might have said this to you offline, but when I come back from LA next week, I'm starting doing my scenes on series 2 of this show, and that's it. That show has got like it's full of well-known British actors, and the trouble is these days is like because of viewing habits are kind of so fragmented. You know, you could be standing next to someone who looks about 20 and you don't know who they are,
Hmm.
but they could be the star in some massive Netflix show, you know, but that you've never seen.
Hmm.
You know, it's not like when I was growing up and, you know, you'd recognize people because they're on BBC One in some sitcom. You know, nowadays, you know, everything's so fragmented. And yeah, it can be very easy to get in your head and just be a bit like, oh God, I'm just some fucking loser who's blanked his way into this TV show and I don't know what I'm doing. And oh God, and there's, you know, XYZ who I've been watching on TV for the last 20 years and so on. So, you know, it's very easy to get that imposter syndrome sort of taking over. And yeah, you do just need to sit back and go, well, yeah, actually, I've done this. You know, I've done a lot of this. And yeah, I deserve to be here because actually some of these shots are quite technical and quite difficult. And I did a film actually a couple of weeks ago,
Hmm.
and it was a random direct offer. I don't know, some casting director put me up, and uh, they just offered me this part in this movie, and I didn't have a lot to do, but it was quite. You know, we had this big scene where I had to kind of wait for the lead to come down, and you know, we shot it loads of different ways. There were loads of essays all over the place. And I was thinking to myself afterwards, I was like, thank fuck that wasn't my first job because that was incredibly technical. We had to just kind of do things like really bang on and then adjust ourselves, all these different shots, and then we're changing lines all the time, and literally hundreds of essays around. Um, I just think, yeah, I guess that's, I guess I can do this. I guess, yeah, I guess I can do this. So, yeah, lately I've been trying to enjoy myself a bit more. I think, the fact that we're going to I can't remember whether I said this on air or not, but we're going to IGN Live in LA. You know, we had the Montpellier party last week with the developers. You know, there will be some convention stuff I think happening later in the year. You know, I'm just sort of enjoying it and just I'm pleased with what I did in the game. Um, so yeah, why not just enjoy it? You know, I'm pretty proud of that stuff, and I'm glad people are enjoying it. You know, yeah, why not? God, I
Awesome.
can talk a lot, can't I? Jesus, needs to calm down.
No, it's perfectly fine. It's perfectly fine. No, I prefer having guests that can talk versus I've had a couple where I feel like I'm pulling teeth because it's like you know I don't know if it's that they didn't want to be here or something, but like I've had a few where I'm just like, oh okay. I asked a question and it's like one word answer. I'm like, oh okay,
No.
yeah. Yeah, I can tell you some of those offline. I've had some horror stories, and my audience is like, okay, that's an interesting interview you did. But yeah,
Well, I
that
need to be I need to be reined in. I think I need to be reined in. It's like I did an interview, a YouTube interview a few weeks ago, and the interview he asked me about what I used to do before I was an actor,
hmm.
and I went into all this detail about my old job. I'm sitting there watching with my wife, and she's just, "Oh my God, you're banging on about this." And I'm just like, he could have edited that out. He's chosen to leave that in. He asked me the question, I told him, and he's left it in. But yeah, it's absolutely right. I don't know. I like talking about acting because I like doing it. I like
Yeah,
I like it. It's nice to talk about it, and yeah, I love talking about this game as well because yeah, it's just such a cool thing.
yeah. So
Yeah.
so I definitely want to ask you more about again, because the game is so new, I don't want to go into specifics about that. But I want to switch gears over to talking about Rivals and other TV shows and film that you've done. Like, what was it like for you when you got to do your first TV show? Like, were you nervous? Was it hard remembering your lines? Like, what is that process like?
Well, because I've come into this industry in a bit of a strange way. So my first sort of TV gig was kind of yeah, I kind of blagged my way into it.
Hmm.
So basically, there were back in 2010, there was a sketch show on BBC Three
Hmm.
called Lee Nelson's Well Good Show. Okay, and I think it was a fairly low budget thing. It was Simon Brodkin was doing this character. He was like a character comedian. I think he tours as himself now. But yeah, I found on some online casting thing that they were looking for actors and essays to be in. You know what I mean by essay? You call essays in the States? Extras, background artists.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, they were looking for extras and actors to be in some comedy sketches. Okay, and what they were doing was, I don't know how it works in where you are, but in the UK, you have there's definitely a division between cast and background sort of
Hmm.
essays, and cast will normally be brought in through a casting process,
Hmm.
through casting directors and producers and such, and there'll be contracts agreed with certain sort of pay scales and whatnot. Whereas background artists will come in from a specific extras background agency,
Hmm.
kind of bust in and kind of treated a bit like shit in certain ways, but so but the thing is they get paid a lot less. So you know uh, if you give an essay a line on the day, like some third AD comes around and goes, oh yeah, can you say something, when they do it, they might pay them a little bit more, but it won't be anywhere near what you'd be paid if you actually auditioned and cast in that role.
Oh.
So what they would do, and this happens now a bit, it's like they might give an essay a line on the day, because maybe that part wasn't written. They just, oh, we need someone to say stop or something, and they'll give it to someone. They might give it to an essay, but then ADR it afterwards, so
Hmm.
they still don't have to pay them as much, and someone else will ADR it anyway. That's what kind of happened to me. So I thought I'll go into one of these comedy sketches, and I played a character that was just sort of sat in the background or something. I think he was a distinct person,
Hmm.
but he wasn't saying anything. And then I think I said to some assistant producer, I said, "Oh, who do I have to who do I have to bribe to get a line around here?" And this guy said, "Oh, well, if you come back on Tuesday, we've got some sketches there. Yeah, you can play a reporter or something." I was just like, "Great." So I did that. Um, Played a reporter in a sketch, and yeah, so I kind of had this. I got paid bugger all, but I got this bit of footage that was obviously TV because it had a laugh track on it, and yeah, I kind of combined that with making some of my own online comedy things, and also then just auditioning for every kind of short film I could, and getting a show reel together. And I kind of started from there, really. So by the time I kind of had I think my first actual proper cast TV role was in a
Hmm.
sitcom called Birds of a Feather,
Hmm.
which was this long running British TV sitcom in the 80s and 90s. And they brought it back like a few years later. So this is like 2013. So I had, I think, one line in this in this opening scene of this new series of this show. Um, and that was like my first, yeah, proper, I had proper contract, proper cast member. I'd auditioned for this,
Hmm.
and I was on the call sheet. Everybody knew my name. I was picked up, proper cast member. But of course, by then I'd already done, some bits and pieces, because I'd done the Lee Nelson thing. I'd also done some other little sketches and some other little Channel 4 comedies and stuff like that. So I'd kind of been getting some screen time, getting some, experience, getting some credits and stuff. Um, yeah, so by the time I'd sort of gone, I've done Birds with Feathers, actually quite a big show, and then getting other things, it was like, oh yeah, I've suddenly done a load of things.
Hmm.
So I guess to answer your question, I never really, I guess I never really had that moment. I guess the moment was, yeah, when I had the line on the BBC Three show, um, but I wasn't credited in it, and I don't think you couldn't really see me that well. But it was still like, oh, that's my first. I'm saying something on the telly,
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I guess everything I've done has been kind of because I mean I can't remember actually what my first video game was now off the top of my head. I can't remember what it was. But at some point, I must have done a bigger video game, and like, oh yeah, this is a big video game. Um, yeah, I guess because the way I've just sort of seeped into it in this sort of roundabout way, I haven't got these sort of distinct moments in my career that I remember.
Okay.
But I guess it's good. I guess I've been lucky that I've been kind of just doing bits, and that part led to that, and then I met a producer on that who got me in for that, and then I got in with a casting director who got me in for that, and then they got me in for that. So I mean, Rivals, the casting director for that is Kelly Valentine Hendry, and an associate that works for her is someone called Jess Maskell, and I met Jess Maskell when I went up for a TV show called Trying,
Hmm.
which I got, and then she went to then work with Kelly, and then she got me in for Ghosts, and then I did that, and then they got me in for Rivals, and they kind of wanted to push me something, so I kind of did two tapes for characters that I wasn't right for, and then they got me the third one, which did work out. And then in the meantime, so actually the Catherine Willis who cast me in Birds of a Feather, she then got me in for loads of stuff over the next few years. And yeah, we kind of got to a point where if it wasn't Kelly casting me in something, it was Catherine, and then they just sort of pushing me in things. Yeah, and then a producer would ask me to come in for that, and then they'd change on a different show, and then I'd meet the same directors. And networking is a horrible word, but it is kind of what it is. It's just
Yeah.
joining dots, making those relationships, and trust, because then people will go, "Oh yeah, worked with him before. He wasn't a complete piece of shit. Let's get him in. He'll do. He's probably available and desperate, so let's get him in. So and the same with the games now. It's just like Side will put me up for loads because they kind of know that I will turn up and and do it. I can read, and I'm not a massive cunt in when I'm doing it. Or I try not to be, or I keep it very well hidden. Keep it buried,
Well,
repressed deep down.
you definitely are very, very down to earth. And that's one of the things that's is kind of a in the years that I've been doing this, like some people that I've gotten a chance to interview, some people you would think would be like super like inflated ego and whatnot are the most down to earth, and some folks that I assume would be down to earth or have egos bigger than Texas. And I'm just like, okay. But I
Yeah,
appreciate you being
well,
down to earth.
I mean, thank you for saying that. I don't know. I just feel I feel lucky to be doing it.
Hmm.
And I think because I started later and I was doing a normal job before, and I'm a bit older. I don't know. I just feel quite. Yeah, I just feel happy that I'm doing it. It's just like, why would I be rude to people if I'm turning up and like, this is great. We're working,
Yeah,
especially now. At the moment, it's with strikes and people out of work. It's just like we're working. We're
yeah,
working. A lot of people aren't. Let's be let's be happy. Let's be grateful. Let's enjoy it.
yeah.
But I mean everyone on Rivals is great. I mean, actually, the execs they told us on a couple of occasions that they have a no cunts rule. They actually said they took us out to dinner one day. They said we have a no cunts rule, and we checked on each and every one of you. Like, oh my god. Um, but at least it means that everyone's lovely.
Yeah.
And it's the same. I mean, everyone in this cast is great as well. I mean, Ben, who is obviously Mr. Superstar voice actor, and Jennifer English as well. They're very normal to talk to, and
Yeah.
very, just like normal people. I mean, I didn't know who Ben was when I met him at that dinner, and I was sat next to him just talking a lot of nonsense, but which he was as well, because he's into all that, and he likes to kind of not take himself too seriously, because he leans into all this comedic stuff, turning up at the BAFTAs as the Balatro guy, the Joker, and just pissing about. And I mean, I think we both like sort of pissing about, I
Yeah.
suppose. I mean, we're deeply professional when we're doing the job. I mean, again, I like to point out to people when those behind the scenes videos, where I'm just mucking around and pretending to pour water on myself. I'm just obviously doing that for the camera. When we're doing it, I'm just like, yeah, get it done. I want to have a bit of a laugh in between, but
Yeah.
um, it is, it's a weird job what we're doing. I mean, my kids don't quite understand. I mean, they know that I'm on telly and they do things, but they don't quite understand it. I don't think
Yeah.
it's certainly not a normal job. I love I love my job, and I will do it as long as people will allow me to. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So given that, we're winding down to the last couple questions that I have for you, and also I know we've gone a little over, well, we've gone a lot over time, so I apologize for all the
Well,
technical
no,
issues.
we had some technical issues. That wasn't your fault. I'm glad your power's still on.
Yeah. So one of the last two questions I want to ask, again going back to Rivals, so like getting into the character of Brian Hetherington, like did you are how much of you is in that character? And I guess this is actually two questions in one. How much of you is in the character, and do you method act for him, or do you understand, like, is it like a you understand the psychology of the character? That's kind of three questions. Damn, fucked
Well,
up.
no, it's all good. I mean, Brian's in it. I mean, have you seen the show? I mean, well, I'd
I've
assume.
seen, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
I
you have
started
seen it.
watching it. Yeah,
Oh, right. Okay. What do you think of it? I mean, it's very 80s, very British. I mean,
I
yeah.
perf I okay. So I personally enjoy it just because I feel like a lot of TV shows now are very formulaic and routine. Whereas like this one, I'm like this takes me back to my childhood. I didn't grow up watching a lot of British shows, but and just in the sense of like the delivery, the cadence, the energy of the cast is really a callback to a bygone era that I deeply, deeply miss. TV shows stop being so routine these days.
Yeah. Oh well, I'm delighted. I mean, yeah, I think it's really good, and I'm really glad to be a part of it. I mean, I'm not in it a lot. I mean, I'm
Hmm.
part of the ensemble, and I do, I'm in a lot of episodes, and I mean, I appear to be having read the scripts. Well, some of the scripts of the next series, I'm still there.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, they haven't really. I mean, Brian hasn't really had a chance to really explore too much of his psyche. Um, yeah, I don't know. A character like Brian. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of me in there. I mean, you know, let's be honest. I play a lot of, regardless of what I do in video games. If it's TV, I tend to play some sort of middle-aged loser, because that's that's what I look like, ladies and gentlemen. So,
No.
the kind of Brian is a sort of character that I think I've played that sort of character quite a lot, and yeah, I mean, what's funny, what I've learned about Brian is that he I mean, yeah, obviously it's that 80s thing of like, he's a comfortable sort of bloke, he's up in the gallery drinking, well, smoking a lot,
Hmm.
drinking, he's got, he's drinking a whiskey, I think, when we were doing the Miss Corinium sort of beauty contest. He's obviously a certain type of guy. I think, yeah, is he married? I think he probably is, a bit of a long-suffering wife, like all the wives are quite long-suffering in that show. But Yeah, I think he's just a normal kind of guy who's maybe affected by the time he's living in. Something that I am amused about is the fact that he doesn't seem to get invited to any parties. It's like there's loads of parties. So there's that massive pool party, and there's a load of other parties that always seem to happen after after the transmission is finished, and he's never there. It's like every other member of Caridium is there except for him. I mean, that might just be scheduling, uh, but that they shot those scenes on weeks I wasn't in. But I did find that quite funny, the fact that he's never there. And I wonder what that says about him. I guess he's fairly good at his job, um, but yeah, maybe he's not that likable. I mean, he obviously pisses. I mean, if you've seen the show, then he pisses off Declan quite early on, telling sort of racist jokes down the comms. But yeah, we'll see what happens to we'll see what happens to him in series two. He's still there. He's still there. Um, yeah, I mean, it's a great thing to be. I guess what I'm saying is I don't have to think about him too much. I think I just sort of get into it, and the situations kind of take care of themselves. And it's a great vibe on that set. And I was very lucky to because obviously David Tennant is in that show, and I'd worked with him on Good Omens before, so it was quite nice that I'd worked with him before, and I've worked with a few people on that set on
Mhm.
that show before. Like I worked with Oliver Chris on Trying. I've done Emily Atac's sketch show. I'd worked with Catherine Parkinson before. I hadn't met Danny Dyer before, but he's very likable and very easy to get on with. So yeah, it's a good vibe, and I'm looking forward to getting back into it.
Awesome.
Um, the only horrible thing is that I have to kind of grow what's left of my hair. I have to kind of let my hair grow for the part because normally I would shave it, but I have to let it grow, and it sort of makes me look about 60, I think. But it's for the part. They didn't want to give me a wig. There's too many wigs already, so yeah, no wig for me.
Okay. One of my last questions I have for you, and see, I definitely need to have you back on the show again because I'd love to talk more about Rivals and all the other shows you've done. I'm very much a TV and film buff. Like I love video games, but it's like I love TV and film more. But anyways, one of my last questions is, what are some of the things like you personally like to do that the audience may not know about? Like you probably go skydiving, surfing with sharks, and you know, going down the Alps. Come on, give us the tea.
Well, I mean, I can confirm I like to do none of those things that you just listed. Um, what I like to do, I mean, it's funny. When I was younger, I used to like socializing a lot. I used to like going out and drinking and doing whatever. Nowadays, I do really enjoy going to bed early and
Mhm.
sleeping. I love sleeping. I don't do enough of it. But and this is another reason why I don't really have time to sort of put many hours into a game. When I do have free time, when my kids aren't around or whatever. Well, firstly, I do try and run quite a lot. I do quite
Mhm.
a lot of running. Now, a lot of people won't know this, but I do have kind of a separate like I have a YouTube audience of runners because I do post YouTube videos about
Mhm.
running. I kind of accidentally became a running YouTuber a couple of years ago. So I do that. I've been the last 12 months I've been kind of injured and stuff. But I like doing races. I've done some marathons, and I like to kind of beat my own 5K time and stuff like that. So I've recently been trying to get into running a bit more after having a bit of time off being ill and injured. But I do really like music. I suppose
Mhm.
that's my so one of the reasons I got into acting late is because I thought I might be a rock star in my 20s. You see, I thought maybe that was my calling because I play the piano, I play the guitar, and I play the drums. And I've played in loads of bands in a lot of my 20s when I was doing my acoustic consultancy job, which we won't get into now. But I was doing that,
Next
and
podcast, people.
I was playing in I was playing in all these bands. And I really thought that was my thing. And it was only when I went on a tour with the band as their keyboard player, and the tour finished up, and it was a bit disappointing. We hadn't really made much money, and the new drummer hadn't really clicked as well as we thought. That I kind of thought, well, now maybe I'll try and give the acting thing a go. But yeah, I love listening to music. I love playing music, and I still try and fit that in. I mean, literally today, I was trying to work out how to play some of the Expedition 33 music, because that soundtrack is amazing. And
Yes.
yeah, I feel like it's my duty to be able to play some of it. 'Cause I did learn the Good Omens theme tune a while ago. I've forgotten it now, but yeah, Laurie and the composer did send me some sheet music of some of the tunes before the game was out,
Hmm.
and I saw him in Montpellier the other week, and he said, "Oh yeah, that loads of people have kind of done arrangements of things online that you can download." So today I downloaded a piece of sheet music that someone had done, where they basically transcribed one of the solo piano pieces.
Hmm.
And there's another arrangement of it's just called Lumiere, like a piano solo that someone's done, and that seems to be all over TikTok and Instagram. When you kind of click on a reel, a
Yeah.
lot of people have used this sound. And the person who has arranged that, I couldn't find any sheet music around, but they have done a YouTube video of what they're playing, and all
Hmm.
that thing. I don't know what you call it, but all the blocks sort of
Yeah.
drop
Y-
down, and you can see what the notes are.
Yeah.
So I was actually this afternoon, when my wife was out and the kids were stuck in front of the telly for a bit. I was actually transcribing that so that I could play it on the piano. So yeah, I like to play the piano. I like to listen to classical music on the piano, like Chopin, Schubert, Beethoven, that type of thing. And I also like listening to. I like playing the guitar as well. I like listening to sort of all sorts of, yeah, guitar bands and things, and also like weird electronic music as well. So sometimes I'll go out and I'll be listening to music that, it might be one day, it might be a playlist that contains, yeah, Chopin or even Bach or whatever.
Hmm.
Some days I might be listening to Blur, big 90s British band, and or more recently I was listening to, I don't know what you'd call them. Is it post-hardcore? I don't know, but McCluskey, who are a kind of a Welsh sort of noise rock band who have just
Post
got back
hardcore.
together and
Yeah.
released a new album. And I also listened to like Aphex Twin and Ortega and other sort of IDM, as they call it, weird electronica. So yeah, I guess I spend a lot of time listening to and trying to play music. I suppose that's something that people maybe don't know about me, because it doesn't really focus in my, yeah, public persona that much. Although I did release a couple of albums, yeah, relatively
Just
recently with a new band that I did.
you just
But yeah.
casually throw that out there. Just casually, like, yeah, I released some albums. What?
Well, I'm just sort of simple, sort of silly garage rock music, really, that sort of thing. And I would like to get back into that, but yeah, at the moment, I just don't have the time. But yeah, I think, yeah, running and music are things that I don't think you would associate if you just bumped into me looking at this. Oh yeah, that guy looks like, yeah, that guy can run and play the guitar. Yeah, you wouldn't think it, would you? But yeah.
Okay. So next time I have you on the show, I'm gonna have to talk about one. You have a YouTube channel. We got to talk about that. Got to talk about music. We got to talk more about running. How you got into it, and yeah. So we have a lot of things we can dissect in another show, and hopefully that time I won't have as many technical issues because with all the advancements in technology, we're still running into technical snafus like I was having earlier. So
Yeah, well, just a bit of bad weather and it can knock everything out. Yeah, I mean,
just
but at least
it's
we can talk to each other across time zones
true.
with relative ease.
True, true.
So we should be thankful for that.
So I actually
Uh,
have one final question to ask you. And I know I said I had two, but this is the last one, I swear. When do you see yourself coming out here to Hawaii for a convention?
oh, good question.
And if you don't have
Um,
anything planned, I work with the conventions out here. I do press and media for them. So,
oh, really?
yes, sir.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, I'd love to. I mean, I haven't been to the States for probably about 15 years, and yes, I'm a bit nervous about coming out next week. Um, so yeah, there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff bubbling around in the background about conventions at the moment. There's been talk about some European conventions I think coming up, but yeah, I certainly wouldn't turn down an excuse to go to Hawaii. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, if it comes from if it comes from you sorting me out, then I won't say no to that. Um, yeah, I haven't done many conventions. I sort of did one in Germany last year for Good Omens, and that was a lot of fun. And yeah, there'll be stuff coming up. Yeah, I mean, they're a great opportunity to meet people and just have some fun, aren't they? And yeah, meet people who are fans of the things you're doing.
Yeah.
You know, um, and a great excuse, yeah, to travel a little bit, which yeah, don't really do much of these days with the kids and all that. Although my wife is Polish, so we do go to Poland a fair bit.
Okay.
But yeah,
All right.
yeah, whenever, sign me up.
All right. I'll connect you to this is out here because I actually have done that with the cast from the recent Fatal Fury City of the Wolves, a lot of the Street Fighter voice actors, and a couple other games too. I'm basically like, all right, let me just either connect you or your agent to QuaiCon, which is our biggest convention out here, or Comic Con Honolulu or Honolulu Comic Con. Like I just am like, all right, I work press for them. I know the people who reach out to the guests. The people who reach out to the guests are like, oh, let me send this email and hope and pray. And I'm like, I'm the guy. I'm the guy. David Hayter from Metal Gear. He's one of my best friends, and he's godfather of one of my daughters. Like he calls me the voice whisperer because he's like, Mekel knows the people. I'm like, voice whisperer? Can we have like the voice broker? He said, no, you're the whisperer because you know everyone. You connect people. I'm like, okay, that's that's fair. All right, Rich, where can people
Nice.
find you? Where can people find you?
Well, I mean, at the moment, I mean, you can find me this incredibly messy. Oh, actually, those are some medals there in the background. Some running
Nice.
things. Those are my medals for turning up, basically. When you pay and you do a race and you get a medal, don't you? It's just like, well done for turning, well done for paying and running this race. I don't know what that stuff is there in the background. That needs to be sorted out. Some sort of guitar. I think old bits of buggy that we need to get rid of because the kids are too old for that. Anyway, that's where you can find me at the moment. But yeah, you can certainly find me on social on social media. Yeah, I mean, I'm sort of using them all at the moment. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky, and even TikTok. Can you believe it? Just as Rich Keeble. Yeah,
Okay.
been
Okay.
suddenly getting a lot of interest on TikTok. Maybe that's my platform now. I don't know. I
I
had
mean,
like 100 followers before the game came out, and I've got like about 5,000. So I guess maybe that's my people. But yeah,
monetize
I'm
TikTok.
there. Come say
If
hi.
if you can monetize TikTok, I'm telling you, it's it's
It's
a good
worthwhile,
amount
is
of
it?
it's a good amount of change when you monetize that. Like I need to get I actually got signed to an agency, Card Pulse agency. They reached out. They're like, "Hey, you've been growing on there. Let's sign you and get you monetized and all this other stuff." And I'm like, "Cool." It is a good amount of money for truthfully. I mean, you don't have to do a lot on that platform. I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, do the dances and do this and do that." It's like, nah, you don't have to.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but yeah, well, is it 10,000 followers you have to get to, or something?
I think they're lowering it at this point because so many people are
Okay.
getting on, and also because, oh yeah, I can share this. I don't care. YouTube can get mad at me if they want. It's basically they're lowering the threshold for people to get monetized on TikTok just because YouTube is pretty much with shorts and vertical streaming. They're
Mm.
basically trying to compete with TikTok, and TikTok is countering YouTube
Ah.
by lowering the threshold. And just funny being partnered to both platforms. And I'm like, yeah, I don't care. Just give me money. I don't care. So,
Yeah, well, we need money to keep doing this, don't we? It's all about diversifying. I didn't do a lot of social media stuff for a long time, and I didn't really get any traction because I didn't really know what to do with it. But yeah,
mhm.
since and we haven't got time to talk about this, but I did used to get trolled a lot for some commercials I was in years ago, and then I got trolled a lot for the Lord of the Rings game. And but I've had a lot of nice interactions with Good Omens fans, and certainly with Expedition 33 fans. So it's sort of changed my mind about social media. I think when people are being dicks to you, you're just a bit like, oh fuck this. But then when people are being nice to you, and yeah, it's very different.
Yeah,
So yeah, I'm leaning into a lot of things at the moment that I haven't really done before. So yeah, come say
okay,
hi,
definitely.
and if you're nice to me, then I will be happy and be nice to you back.
Nice. So I'll leave links for everything in the description down below, and we
Oh,
definitely
great.
will connect more because there's a lot. I want to connect you with the conventions out here, and a lot of other stuff I want to talk to you about. And definitely would love to have you back on the show again if you ever be interested in coming back on. It's been an honor having you on, and
Oh well, thank you so much. No, it's
yeah.
been great. Oh, I'll definitely come back again. I mean, you're probably gonna have to cut loads out, cut loads of this out.
Oh no, I'm just gonna leave it. See, I've done that before. My audience is like, they got mad when I cut stuff out. They're like, just let it, because it's like for them, it's like being a fly on the wall. And I think
Mm,
when I say like this is Hawaii's #1 podcast, a lot of people think that's hyperbole, but it's like no, it's true. I'm the only person in Hawaii that's sponsored by Spotify. Only person in Hawaii that's doing a show like this, because a lot of people typically they talk about the same things that every other fucking podcaster out here talks about, which is
mm.
the weather, rainbows, tourism, all this other stuff. And I'm like, yeah, and this is why you don't grow. Yes, I'm taking shots at you guys because you guys take shots at me. It is what it is. But it's one
There
of
you
those
go.
things.
Right back at you.
You
Yeah.
know, it's one of those things. But I will stop before I get into too much trouble. Thank you for coming on the show. Thank you to Spotify for sponsoring this episode and all the sponsoring the show in general. And people, we will see you on the next one. If you enjoyed this episode of the podcast or any of the other episodes that we've done so far, if you've enjoyed any of the conversations I've had with the guests that I've had on the show, or just general topics that you guys have thrown at me or that I've researched and we've just talked about on the show, then do me a solid. If you're listening on any of the major podcasting outlets, make sure you leave a comment, leave a rating or a review because it greatly helps out the show. If you're watching the show on YouTube, which airs every single week, then make sure you sub to the channel, youtube.com/@Mekel Kasanova, or just youtube.com/Mekel Kasanova, or even do us an even bigger solid by liking the video and sharing it with someone you think would find some enjoyment out of it. And all that being said, I hope you guys continue to enjoy this podcast and the content we put out here because, hey, we do it with a passion and we do it for you. So with that being said, I catch you guys on the next one. Stay safe, be blessed, and I'll see you around. Peace.